at the Directorate General of Kingdom Relations at the Ministry of BZK. As you know, BZK is involved in the program Slavery Past. This is our second information session. The first one was in early September when we focused on category 1. This time we're going to focus on category 2, which is the small social initiatives, the subsidy scheme we're talking about. Let me introduce to you Jasper and Philip. They work for UVB, which is Uitvoering van Beleid. These are the guys that know everything, and well, today is about them. But before we start, one more logistical thing. Please, if you have questions, put them in the chat. We have our lovely assistant Kim, who will read them out at the end of the presentation of Philip and Jasper. So then you will have all your questions answered. And Carlijn, my colleague at DGKR, the acting program manager, is also available in case there's a question for her. But before we start, I wanted to share a little bit with you about just shortly about the background of why we are here, the subsidy scheme, how that came about. As you know, after the apologies by Prime Minister Rutte in December 2022, the Netherlands made 200 million euros available. That has been, which is divided over the Caribbean part of the kingdom, the Netherlands and Suriname. It is split in half with one part for the what we call the policy initiatives of the local governments, which we call the action agendas. That's not what we're here to talk about. We're talking about the subsidy scheme, for which 100 million was made available. Again, divided in 3, Suriname 33, you can see the infograph here that our communication partner Profound made for us. Suriname 33, the Netherlands 33, and then, well, we're here for the kingdom of the Caribbean part of the kingdom, of course. All the 6 islands get the same share, which is 5.5 million. And this program is going to run for a couple of years. So, well, welcome everyone. Let's get started, Jasper and Philip, because you have a nice presentation. And once again, if you have questions, put them in the chat, and then Kim will read them when Jasper and Philip are finished with their presentation.
Great, Susanna. Thank you for this short introduction. As Susanna mentioned, she had talked about to you about the introduction and background of the regulation. We will continue further with these topics mentioned in the sheet. First of all, my name is Philip Stolwijk, and this is my colleague Jasper van Bolhuis. We both work for UVB, Uitvoering van Beleid, which is part of the Ministry of Social Affairs and Employment, and we're the ones who will be carrying out this regulation for the Ministry of BZK. And we have devised this brief presentation to guide you through the essentials of regulation first, but we'd also like to provide ample space for you to state your questions and to discuss anything that might arise. So I think, as I said, Suzanne already talked us through the background of the regulation. So I think, Jasper, it's good to start with the applicants.
Right, I will. The presentation is visible for everybody, right?
Let's see if people are nodding.
Yes, it is.
Sorry, can you repeat your question?
If the presentation was visible, because we've had some issues in the past, let's say, with the presentation, but it's good. Okay. Yeah. Well, first, my apologies for coughing sometimes. I think Philip and I both got a bit of the autumn flu these couple of days, so we're the victims of the cold and rainy weather here in the Netherlands. But I think we still look decent enough to give the presentation. Yeah, so let's start. Who can apply for the subsidy? One the most important criteria maybe is only non-profit legal entities can apply for the subsidy, which in practice means foundations, associations. Those are in general mostly the legal entities that are non-profit that we see. That also means that natural persons are not in this subsidy scheme, are not the targeted applicants, although we know that in the past that they have been part of the discussion and how to include them, but there's a clear choice in the subsidy scheme, so it's only the non-profit legal entities. Another important criteria is for the subsidy scheme of the Caribbean part of the kingdom is that you have to be located in the Caribbean part of the kingdom, accordingly to the Chamber of Commerce registration. Also, we're not looking at the personal background of the people behind the organization. We'll only look at the organization themselves, and even there's a little change in how we viewed the category 1, because we're looking towards category 2, which are the small scale societal initiatives. For category 1, the professionalization, we asked as a criteria for organizations to show that they had a clear link with the theme of transatlantic slavery past. And they could do that through showing it via their official documents, if it was explained in official documents, or they could give an explanation if they have carried out activities related to this theme. That's not a criteria anymore for category 2, also not for category 3 and 4, which are all about the societal initiatives themselves, the projects. With the projects, we will look if the projects sufficiently contribute to the goals of the subsidy scheme, and through that are also sufficiently related to the theme of the slavery past. So yeah, I think that's for the subject of applicants all for now.
Jasper and Philip, is it possible to show the presentation in full screen? Which is a question from the participants.
Yeah, that's a good one. Let me see if this does it translate to you guys?
Yes, it does.
Okay, great.
That's great.
Okay, well then we've learned a new thing, so thanks for this. So yeah, for now it's Jasper told you about the applicants, and I will elaborate a bit more on activities. So as you can see in the slide, the idea is to develop small-scale social initiatives related to the slavery past, with a few conditions and a few examples as well. So you could consider the project for education, artistic expression, etc. Meetings, exhibitions, educational material. That's all up to you. But there's a wide range of possibilities for you to develop your own projects within this category. The most important condition here is that these projects benefit the descendants of the enslaved community, which is of course a bit of an abstract concept, but we kindly invite you in your subsidy application to elaborate on this and to explain how your initiative will meet this condition. And the same conditions apply to the categories 3 and 4, with the difference that these categories entail a large amount of money, to be short. And for the 4th category, that we also require that there's something of a broader social impact to the project. but in essence, they're mostly the same, I think. So that's as to the activities themselves. Do you want to elaborate on the costs?
Sure. Yeah. So we basically for the activities we look at three types of costs. First is external costs, and how you account for that is through invoices, proof of payments, but those are costs made by external parties, so not from out the organization of the applicant. The other one is direct labor costs, so that's the people who work for the organization themselves. So it's basically the hours that they put into the project, the initiative, and for that we'll as an accountability part of it, we will look at the pay slips and also at the hour registration. And then the third one is the volunteer compensation. I think also maybe good to take one step back. For the direct cost, we have a fixed amount that we subsidize per hour, and that's $65 per hour. So even though some employees may earn less or more, we decided to have a fixed compensation per hour for direct labor cost. For volunteer compensation, we also have a fixed.
Hello, I'm going
Yes,
to,
sir.
sorry, I would like to interrupt, please, because you're going off on this topic when you are not clear on a point that I want to verify. Is when can you define the word grant? Because if you are asking for invoice and proof of payment, then it's not necessarily a grant, but requesting of a project, and then it's conflicting information. I understand. So can you verify that before you go on to a different point?
Okay.
Can I interject as moderator? Couture, the idea is for you to type your questions, because that would be easier for Kim to read the questions afterwards. It's just that way we have they're not interrupted too much. And Jasper and Philip, you are still on the previous slide. You're not on the slide, the next slide as yet.
So it's not working completely.
You should be able to.
We're stuck on number 5. We need slide number 6.
Okay, and because we have slide number 6 in view, but then
Yes, now we can see it.
Yeah. Okay.
Sorry, maybe you can briefly address Keturo's question and then please continue with your presentation.
Yeah. So my apologies for being maybe a bit unclear. The accountability part that I'm talking about now is not for the application of the grant. It's the administrative accountability that you throughout the project that you will have to keep in your administration, if I can say that like this. At the end of the project period, for category 2, we'll through a randomized check, we'll ask certain applicants to account for the project that they have carried out and the costs that they have made. And for that's what I mean with the if you have external costs, if you've made external costs throughout the project, we'll ask you to provide invoices and proof of payments at the end of the project if you are asked by Uitvoering van Beleid to give proof of the executed project. And in the case of the direct labor cost, that is pay slips and hour registrations. And in case of the volunteer compensation, if hours are put in the project from volunteers, then we'll ask for a volunteer agreement. So that's all at the end of the project, if the project has been executed already. So indeed, you are correct. That's not part of the application of the subsidy grant. So hopefully, or do you have anything to add to that?
Not for now, no.
Okay. So those were the three sub parts of the cost related to the activities that are eligible for subsidy. We also provide a standard compensation for subsidy advice or certain administration costs, and that's for category 2. That's a $1,000 compensation that can be used for subsidy advisors or for subsidy advice or administrative costs. And for category 3 and 4, those are a bit higher amounts. I think for category 3 it's $2,500, and for category 4 it's $3,750. Then there's also the overhead, and that's an additional 15% over all the costs that are eligible for subsidy, and that is for all the how do you say it, overige, the additional costs that are not directly eligible for subsidy, but that still sometimes are necessary to make within a project, within an initiative. So it could be travel costs or other types of costs like that. Maybe good to add to that the overhead 15%, as well as the compensation for subsidy advice. We standardly give it, but it's not required to
account for it.
Yeah, to account for it. Also, you can also allocate it to activities that are eligible for subsidy. But yeah, we give a free sort of we give it the how can you say, the subsidy applicants have the opportunity to allocate those funds freely
If necessary. Yeah.
if necessary. For category 4, that's the subsidy grants that are 125,000 and more, up to 500,000. We ask for an accountant protocol at the end of the project period, right, for the end declaration, and we provide a compensation, a standard compensation of $10,000. Here it says euros. Our apologies, but it's $10,000, and that's just for the category 4. I think that's it for this slide.
I'll go on to the next one.
Okay.
Are the application periods visible for everybody now?
Or are we still on the past slide?
Yes, you're still on slide 6.
Yeah.
Okay, then we have this new trick.
Yes, we can see it now.
Yeah. Okay, we'll do it like this. So this is just a slide, a small overview of the application periods. As you can see, we've already finished the first application period for category 1. So this meeting pertains to the first application period for category 2, coming up in December, and both of which will have further periods as well as the other categories. So this is good to bear in mind when applying for a subsidy, and it's also good to bear in mind that when the regulation went live, or this was updated in July, it contained a clause that forbid applicants to apply for subsidies in subsequent periods. Which would have meant that if you had applied for the first category in September, you wouldn't be eligible for subsidy under category 1 coming up in December. Because of a number of signals that we've received from people, as well as internal discussions, we have decided to delete that clause, so as to make it possible for you to apply for the subsidy in subsequent periods. So that's something to keep in mind. I think I'll just continue for now.
I think we have to do the trick again.
Oh yeah, we have to do the trick again. I'll continue to the next slide, which details how to apply for the subsidy. So there's a sort of three-step
Jasper and Philip, your audio is not working.
process. On the website of Okay,
We'll
do you hear us now?
here. Yeah, we can hear you again.
Even doen.
Dit is jammer. How long have you not been hearing us?
Back the slide, please.
Yeah, we'll go back to the slide. Yeah, so I just discussed the application periods, and right now I was beginning to discuss the application process.
Should we make sure if that last part of the application period of the...
Yeah, so did you hear the part about the clause regarding the subsequent periods?
Yes, we heard that part.
Okay, that's important. Then I'll continue with the next slide, which I'll start the presentation mode again. So the idea is for you to enter into our subsidy portal on our website, and then first of all create an account for your organization as such, with all its details, including payment details. And then the second step is to register that account for the specific subsidy scheme, which is the scheme, but also for the specific application period, which would be the period for the second category coming up in December. And this you should be able to do beforehand. So I think somewhere around mid-November you should be able to start registering for the subsidy application. And so our advice would be to do that timely, so as not to lose any time during when the application period starts in December. And then when it does in December, you can submit your application through our electronic form, including the attachments that we require. And I think this is a good point for me to give the floor to Jasper again.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So when applying for subsidy in our subsidy portal, we'll ask the applicants to submit some attachments. The first mandatory attachment is a proof of a bank account number and account holder. So that could be a bank statement, so that of which it becomes clear that the bank account number that is used in the subsidy application and the name are related to each other. The second attachment is a form of authorization, and that's if necessary. If someone other than the applicant has the administrative authority, then you need to submit also a form of authorization. So it's good to make sure to check to what degree you, as the person who applies for the subsidy, are authorized according to the registration of the Chamber of Commerce, are authorized to represent and make decisions for the organization. So, for example, if the board member who applies for the subsidy is not independently authorized, then you have to submit a form of authorization. And I think more technical explanations of this part are also you can find on our website. So please check out also our website before applying for the subsidy. Then you have the attachment, the format of the plan of activities, and that's indeed for the categories 2, 3, and 4 of the societal initiatives. In this format, you give a more detailed explanation about your plans, about your activities that you're planning to carry out, about how you are gonna reach a certain target group, how you're gonna make impact. So that gives more opportunity to provide a detailed explanation of your project. Then there's also the budget format, and both formats, the activity plan and the budget formats, are mandatory formats to use. And in the budget format, you'll get the opportunity to give a how do you say, a debrief of all the costs that you're going to make related to the activities, and those will be the 3 sub costs of the activities that we explained: the direct labor cost, the external cost, and the volunteer compensation hours. You will be asked to fill those costs in, and it's important that those costs that are filled into the budget also relate to the activity plan and also relate to the application form, so that it's all in line with each other. The format you can find, you can almost not yet. We'll put them on the website as soon as possible. We hope to do it next week already, and then you can find the formats on our website. So it's good to, when they are available, already download the format so you can prepare the subsidy application by filling in already the formats that you will be asked to submit during the application. That's, I think, enough for this slide, so we can continue.
Yeah, so then I'll finish with our assessment. So as once we have closed the application period, which will be in January, mid-January next year, we will first of all look whether we have a sufficient budget to assess all the applications, or whether we don't have enough. If we do have enough, then we'll just start assessing them in order of their application. So whoever comes first will be assessed first. But if we don't have enough budget, we will have to ask a notary to make for us a sort of randomization in order to determine the order in which the applications will be assessed, which is then based on chance. So everybody has an equal chance of having their application assessed by us, whether we have enough budget or we don't. So that's, I think, a good thing to keep in mind.
Also whether you're the first to apply or the last to apply, the chance of being assessed and of getting subsidy doesn't
it's equal
change.
for everybody.
Yeah.
But that's so there's also no need to rush on December 1st for your application.
Yeah. We'd rather have you not rush and give a full complete application than you rush in the first days to submit the application. Yeah.
Exactly. So once the application period has ended, there's a formal period of 13 weeks for us to decide. And we have mentioned the advisory committee, but that's only van toepassing. So that's only here for the third and fourth categories.
Applicable.
Applicable. Okay, thanks. But usually we will need those 13 weeks to make a proper decision on the project. It is good to know that we might have questions regarding your application, which could be very technical. For example, if one of the attachments is missing, or if we have any questions regarding the content of your project. But we will always make sure to formally ask you about this, to clarify this, rather than just sending you a letter saying your subsidy your subsidy application won't be granted. So you will always have the opportunity to provide us with additional information before we make a final decision. And even that decision isn't final because you can appeal it. So that's, I think, good to know. Then once we have come to a positive decision, you can start the project on the day that we send it to you. From that moment onwards, you will have 1 year to complete it. And you will receive your payment, your advance, within 6 weeks. And for this category, we have determined that the advance your first advance will equal to your total advance, which is equal to the total subsidy amount. So if you were to apply for $25,000 and we would grant it, then you would receive your payment of $25,000 within 6 weeks after we decide. So I think that, in a nutshell, are the basics of the regulation. And now, hopefully, we can answer some of your questions.
Yes, thank you, Jasper and Philip. The first question is in the beginning of your presentation. You referred to natural persons. Do you mean private citizens?
Yeah,
Exactly. Yeah.
It's natuurlijke persoon in Dutch. So we have made a terrible translation. Our apologies, but yeah.
The next question is, can you explain the difference between grant and funds given?
I've used them interchangeably, but it pertains to the subsidy that we're talking about.
And I think for category 2, it is the same, because the funds given are also 100% of the grant that is be given. But in categories 3 and 4, depending on how long the project period is that the applicant fills in, the funds that will be paid out are every half year a certain percentage of the total amount of the grant.
Can you confirm if this administration cost can be applied for the organization itself?
I'm sorry, could you repeat that?
Can you confirm if the administration cost can be applied for the organization itself?
Yeah, so any cost for administration can be covered with the overhead compensation of 15%. So yeah, that's allowed.
Can you give more explanation about the tasks of a grant advisor, subsidieadviseur?
Well, I guess those are private parties. So the task will what they provide will be various, I guess, but it's whatever the applicant needs advice in or support in. Those parties can hopefully provide that support and advice to make a more complete and better application, but also throughout the whole process of the project period. So it can vary.
Is it possible to react on the question?
You can do so in the chat, ma'am, and then I'll read the questions out loud.
Okay.
The next question is, would acquiring a workspace be part of the 15% overhead?
Normally it would, yeah, because as such, it's probably not an activity that we would provide a grant for, but it of course can be related to it and thus be covered with the overhead compensation.
Can you give examples of overhead costs? Can it be used for consumption, electronics, sound, laptop and TV beamer screens for presentations?
All of it, yeah. So that's the thing with overhead compensation is that we know that you will make extra costs, but we can say for sure that it's for everybody the same and how much. So we've devised this fixed percentage of 15% for applicants to be able to cover their extra costs without having to account for them specifically. So you can also use them for the items that you mentioned, but also just to double up on your activities. It's all up to the applicant.
To understand fully, the additional overhead and accountant costs, are they on top of the $25,000 grant? In other words, they are not included in this $25,000 amount?
They are included.
Yeah, they are included. So it's not on top of the 25,000.
So you should reckon with an amount of about $21,000 if you want to reach the top of 25, which is the maximum. That would then break down to about $21,000 for the activities, $1,000 for the advisor, and about $3,000 for the overhead compensation.
Yeah.
In order for you to apply for category 2, would you have had to apply for category 1?
No, that's not a requirement.
I assume we will receive this presentation. I would like to receive it in both English and Dutch, please.
Yeah, I think Susanne has those presentations and will send them to the,
Make them available.
Yeah, sure.
The next question is, can an organization apply for both the LFF and the Slavery Memorial Committee Fund in the same time period? I can answer that partially, and I don't know if you guys would like to add. Yes, you can, as long as it's not for the same project.
Yeah, so if I understand correct, is it one organization that is applying within the same aanvraagtijd or within the same applicant period for two grants?
No. I think it's for the separate program. So I think.
Oh, sorry. Yeah. No.
So I don't think we have anything to add to you, Kim.
Yeah.
Perfect. Okay, the next question, can you apply for every category?
You can, yeah. So you can, especially now that we've deleted the clause about the subsequent applications. But it is good to know that we will look into any other projects that you might have applied for with us to make sure that there's no funding of, well, as Kim said about the other subsidy, that we're not funding the same thing twice.
Do we have to register for each category, or is one account used for all projects you choose to apply for?
So one account is used for all the applications for all the different categories, but you have to register for the specific application period and category every time. Yeah. So use the same account registration of your organization, but you have to register every time for the separate application period.
Participants are asking for the link from the website. Suzanne, maybe you can share that in the chat. The next question is, once the application is filled, what is the process time for the grant?
So that's 13 weeks for us to process it, to assess it, and to come to a decision.
Please explain why uitvoering poort is in Dutch while everyone is speaking English.
I think that's a very fair question. I think parts of our infrastructure are not yet equipped to deal with non-Dutch speaking applicants. And my apologies for that. This is the first time that our organization, as such, has entered into a scheme, has entered into a subsidy regulation that provides opportunities in English. I would like to add that there is a manual available of our portal in English, which can guide you also through the Dutch speaking parts. And also that the electronic form as such for the application is available in English. So it's only the first part of the process that's not available in English yet, but the rest is.
Thank you. When will we be notified that there is money left and not used in each category?
We cannot give a certain date for that. After these application periods, we will have moments to assess how much money is left and how to redistribute those and in what form and way. But there's no definitive answer to that as yet.
Can you share the link in the chat, Suzanne, where the application forms would be posted?
The application forms themselves will not be posted, or
no. So the form as such not, but the attachments will.
Yeah, the attachments will. Yeah, and that's all on our website. But I think it will be good to send those links as well.
Yeah.
Maybe I can send it now to Suzanne, and she can. Well, let's see.
Why are there two application periods? Is that related to how much subsidy is used on the first application period?
It's not. It's I think to give applicants a chance to, if they might have missed the first chance to apply for the subsidy, then they will have a second chance, and to have it sort of spread out evenly over the periods between now and I think it's early 2028. Yeah.
Where can the negative decision be appealed?
At I think it's at that's yeah.
Well, maybe Carlijn can jump in because it's an email at the department of the Ministry of Binnenlandse Zaken en Koningsrijksrelaties where.
Yeah, so what you will see if you receive our decision, it will have an annex which provides you with the instructions to submit the appeal, and the first appeal will be directed at the legal department within BZK.
Yeah.
Is there a limit that each island can receive?
There is, based on the regulation as it stands, each application, or at least the budget for each application period, is evenly divided between the islands. So every island gets 1/6 of the available budget as a maximum.
Okay, the next question is, can a public list of advisors be given, please?
Well, that's a good question, but it's something we do not normally do, also not in Holland, because we need to be careful with aanraden, with let me find a word for a bit, but so we would sort of disturb the market in this regard. So it's not for us at this point to provide you with a list, but you are of course free to to look around on the internet or within your network to see if there's someone to help you with it.
Will the payment for the external advice be prepaid or after the approval of the project?
Afterwards, and it's also contingent on the approval. So if there's no approval, there's no compensation for the advice.
About the subsidy advice, this would be an expense that you do before you send in your application. So you would pay the advisor ahead of time and pay yourself back with the money you receive from the grant?
That would be one scenario, but there's also, of course, subsidy advisors that work on a no cure no pay basis. So it's up to the applicant to make those
deals.
Yeah, to deal with the advisor. Yeah.
Your application is approved in less than 13 weeks. Does the 1-year period begin immediately upon receiving approval?
Yes. Yeah, the day of the grant decision is sent is the day that the project period starts, and that activities that are eligible can be carried out.
Very clear. For category 2, there is no place to upload quotations. How about the accountability report? But do we need to submit it at the end?
Yeah, the accountability reports, they will be after the project has been implemented already. So not at the application for the grant subsidy. And at the end of the project period, we will randomly select some subsidy applicants to provide us with the accountability of the implemented project. So for category 2, the applicant doesn't need to come to us, but we will come to them to ask for proof how the project has been implemented and what costs have been made. So it's important to collect throughout the project period to collect these administrative pieces, so that if we sort of knock on your door figuratively, that you can provide us with those attachments or with those accounts.
How long do you have as of December 1st to turn in your application?
Well, the application period is open from December 1st to January 12th.
About 6 weeks.
Yeah.
Can sole proprietors apply for both LFF and the Slavery Memorial Committee Fund? We already answered that question. Are we allowed to submit everything in English, Dutch, and Papiamento or Papiamento?
I think for now, it's the form is available in English and in Dutch, and unfortunately not in Papiamento or Papiamento.
Is the subsidy applicable for sport clubs that has a yearly program for youths?
It can be. So we will of course look into the program, look into whether it fits with the goals set out in the regulation, but it's not necessarily not eligible.
Will the foundations have to be directly associated with culture only?
They don't. So contrary to the first category, where we looked very specifically at the goals of the foundation, for this category and also for the third and fourth ones, we will look more to the activities themselves and how they relate to the topic.
Okay, next question. If there is funding that was not used, can this be used for the other islands as was agreed in the beginning with the representatives of each island?
That's a very complex question, but also very understandable. As we understand, the agreement was made beforehand to split this budget evenly, which also means that as the regulation stands, there's no room for transferring subsidies from one island to the other.
Within the application period.
Within the application period. But of course, should this situation arise, which it hasn't thus far, we will look into the circumstances and we might evaluate this.
Okay, the last question I received thus far is, will all approved projects per island be published on the LFF website?
There will be an. I'm not sure whether it will be on the LFF website, but there will be published in order to for transparency reasons, of course. Whether that's on the LFF website, I'm not sure, but it will be available publicly.
Yeah.
That's it for the questions. I don't know if anybody has another question. I don't see anybody typing either, so I think that's it.
There's one more question, Kim.
Here it comes. Why was this decision made and changed without the island representative being informed?
Could you specify which decision?
I think this is in regards to the question stated earlier. If there is funding that was not used, can it be used for the other islands as was agreed in the beginning with the representatives of each island?
Well, as I understand, the agreement was specifically to split the budget evenly. So to not do it would break the agreement, if you will. But maybe I could invite Carlijn at this point to elaborate a bit.
Thanks, Philip. I think I can add on to that, and I think you already specified it as well. This decision was being made to distribute it evenly, so that means that every application period, also the budget is split evenly as of how it's stated in the subsidy scheme as of right now. But as Jasper and Philip also mentioned, we also learn along the way, and it was also specified in the subsidy scheme that after 1 year we'll evaluate and kind of see, like, is that still the way to go, or is that something that we should change?
Thanks, Carlijn.
There's another question that just came, 2 other questions. Will there be online meetings for the other categories as today to apply gets nearer?
I think that's our intention, and Susanne will probably elaborate on this when we really near the end of this meeting. But yeah, that's what we intend to do.
I remember from the first info session that a statement was made that if due to absorption capacity issues, especially on the smaller islands, the money will remain in the Dutch Caribbean.
That's true. Yeah. So, but this I think relates to the earlier question about the way the budget is split. But the regulation as it stands has no provisions to transfer that money towards any other islands or towards the European part of the kingdom.
And if I can add on one thing, also obviously budget-wise, if one of the application periods doesn't necessarily fulfill all the money available, obviously we'll have to evaluate and kind of see in which other category we can add the amount that was left. So in order to not lose any of the money. So in that sense, we have to evaluate constantly and kind of see, like, okay, what money was being used and what money can we actually apply to another category in another time period to make sure that the budget is being used usefully over there as well.
Thanks.
Each island has different needs and a different amount of population, so having equal funding may limit the bigger island's impact, correct?
Well, I think that could be a fair assessment, but I don't think it's for us as UVB to judge on that.
Yeah.
Will there be a local representative on each island in the event that we have questions or guidance or need guidance?
Yeah, but I think Susanne will elaborate on that further. Yeah.
That's it for the questions.
Thank you, Kim.
Thanks.
There's one last question, Kim, and then we close up.
When do we get notifications of that decision? I do not know which decision this person is referring.
Yeah, so I think referring to what my colleague has explained, that we have 13 weeks to make our decision, and that 13 weeks they start from the closing of the application period, so that will be January 12th, and then we have 13 weeks to make our decision about all the for all the applications. So that's the maximum amount of time that will take us to inform all the applicants about our decision. So we obviously strive to do it faster.
You should have it no later than mid-April.
Okay, thank you so much, Jasper and Philip. It's been very informative. I hope everyone had their questions answered. Thank you so much for this, Jasper and Philip. Also, Kim, so very much for reading out the questions and collecting them. And Carlijn for the extra additional information. We are going to organize more of these sessions. That's the idea, to keep everyone informed. You will receive, please take into account the Legacy to Future Funds website, the socials. We will be sharing the information when there's another session coming up, so keep those in mind. Also, at the Legacy to Future Funds, all the way at the end of the page, you will find a button that says keep me informed. You can leave your email address there too, so we can include you on the mailing list. Also, we have somebody from the herdenkingscomité. Kim, help me out with the English word here. The commemoration committee, right?
Slavery Memorial Committee.
Slavery Memorial Committee. They are helping us with a help desk. So we have a local number. You can see it on top. You please use the first one. The first one is in use, not the second phone number. Please use the first one. That's the local help desk that you can ask questions. UVB also has a number, which is in the Netherlands, that you can find on the UVB website. So please make use of that help desk for any questions that you have. As promised, we will forward to the participants of today the presentations. Well, we had first the Dutch presentation and the English version, so we will send you both just to be sure. And then we will also send you the application form, the link to the application form, so you can also take a look at that. And the presentation itself from Jasper and Philip will be posted on our social, so you can also review that later. I want to thank everybody for their participation and all their questions. Thank you everyone for the presentation as well, Jasper and Philip again. Thank you, Kim, Carlijn, and see you all next time.
Can I just, I'm sorry, can I just add one
Yes.
thing, Susanne? Also on behalf of us, I just want to thank everybody for attending today. But also I want to stress that I can imagine that we might not seem as accessible for you as our colleagues on the islands, which I, of course, fully understand. I just want to let you know that we are available to answer your questions by phone, by email. We can call you if you like to spare the costs. So please don't hesitate to contact us if there's anything that you might need help with.
Okay, thank you so much for that additional information. Right, we're going to close off, guys. Enjoy your day and see you all next time.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Ciao.
Bye-bye.